Hello, people. It's your boy LFC Plavi here, and today what I'm going to talk about is the fact that Liverpool are going to be better next season. I don't expect that Liverpool drop off, or at least what I expect is that Liverpool maintain their levels for next season. And I'm going to give you reasons why. But before I do that, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. It doesn't cost a thing to do that, so why not? Please do that for me right now as you watch. And now let's get to it. The first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that we are going to see an improved build-up play from Liverpool next season. And I say that because of certain indications that I've realized in the last few games that Liverpool have played after clinching the Premier League trophy. So we've seen that in games after in our recent games, we've seen that the DM, which is Gravenberg, or even in the other game, I think it was Curtis Jones who was playing as the DM. The game against who was it against? After we played Chelsea, we played Arsenal, right? Yeah, so I think it was either the Chelsea game or the Arsenal game where we saw Curtis Jones dropping deep into the defense to receive the ball from the keeper. We also saw Gravenberg do that against Brighton. Brighton away when we lost the game 3-2. So we are going to see an improved build-up play. I think at the beginning of the season and for the most part of the season, what we've seen is that Slot instructed the players to go long whenever the press from the opposition becomes too intense. So he told them not to take too much risk at the back, trying to force the play from the back. So we ended up going long in a lot of games. I think in the game against PSG away, we did that a lot. Whenever the press came onto us, we felt we had to play the ball long, and most of the long balls weren't accurate enough to create anything. Of course, we ended up scoring from that. It was a long ball from, I think, the goalkeeper. Nunes headed it down, and he laid the pass off to Elliott to slot it home. So it kind of worked in some cases, but I also think that is not necessarily the end goal for Slot. Now, let me explain something about Slot system. I think Slot system is all about baiting the press. Now, in baiting the press, what the team does is that they want the opposition to come onto them. When the opposition tries to press them high, immediately the team realizes that the opposition is pressing them high. There are two options. Either you play through the press and create artificial transitions, or you go long. When you go long, it means that you create 1v1 situations for Salah, Nunes, or Luis Diaz, if he's the one playing the 9, or Gakpo. If you are able to get those players in a one-on-one situations, Liverpool have an upper hand, because those players against any defender, it's a 50-50 at least. So those are the two options. And I think this season we went a lot with the first option, which is going long. We normally went long for the most part. But I think next season what is going to happen is that we are also going to do a lot more of building up and playing through the press, using players in certain scenarios, putting players in certain positions that allows us to play around the press a bit more. So I think that is something that we are going to see next season. The second thing that I think we are going to see next season is better control of games. So in most cases this season, when we went up by a goal, what the team did was to try and control the game better, try and keep the ball from the opposition. And in some cases, we really struggled to do that. So we lost leads when we were ahead. Against Everton away when we played 2-2. we kind of got in front, but we couldn't control the game. So the game management was a bit poor. So I think next season, what Slot would aim to do would be to be able to better control games. It would be to consolidate our lead whenever we go ahead. And that would be done because I think the players being together for a much longer period and the coaches getting to work with the players for much longer would help build that telepathy and understanding between the players. Now, the other thing that I also want to talk about is that next season we are going to see more varied attack. So Liverpool has the best attack in the league this season, and next season I think it would even be much better. The reason why I say that is the kind of players that I see Liverpool being linked with. Right. Of course, I've said on this channel, don't get me wrong, that on this channel, I don't really talk about transfer rumors. The only time I talk about transfers or a specific player that Liverpool is linked with is when it's confirmed by the club. But I just want to touch on the Jeremy Frimpong transfer because it's almost done. Let's not kid ourselves. This is almost a done deal. The fact that his Slot is trying to bring in a player like Jeremy Frimpong really says a lot about how Slot thinks about the way we attack. He said something, Slot, during the course of the season, which was that for him, he considers deep runs as the most important thing in football, deep runs. And I think that is exactly why he's bringing in Jeremy Frimpong. So whether he plays him as the right-sided winger or the right fullback, the main job that Frimpong is going to do is to make a lot of deep runs. So running from deep either to do an underlap or an overlap for Salah is going to be very important. And I think that is one of the reasons why he's bringing such a player in. On the left-hand side too, if he ends up bringing a new player, for me, what I think is going to be a player who makes those kind of runs a lot, who joins the attack, who has speed, who has very good crossing. So the way Slot played at Feyenoord is that he always wanted or made sure that his team was able to get into a position where they can get to the byline and make a cutback. When they are able to cross the ball back, and I've seen, if you've noticed this season, a player like Conor Bradley has done that a lot. He gets to the byline and he cuts the ball back. Soboslai has also gotten into those positions several times. He gets onto the byline, receives the ball from Salah, and he tries to cut it back or shoot on goal. So those are mostly the main ways that we attack. Sometimes we make crosses into the box. Sometimes we use deep runs. An example of the deep run thing that Slot was referring to was the goal that we scored against, I think it was against Fulham. The goal was scored by Diaz. So I think Diaz, McAllister was the one with the ball. I forgot if it's Fulham. I'll check that. McAllister was the one who got the ball. He tried to manipulate the ball and look for a pass, and all of a sudden, Conor Bradley made a run from deep, and that really disrupted the formation of the opponent. And once he received the ball, he just gave the ball, I think it was a first touch pass, or maybe he took a touch and laid the ball off to Diaz, and Diaz slotted it home. So those are the kind of goals. Also, the goal against Madrid in the Champions League, that Conor Bradley laid it off to McAllister and he controlled the ball and shot the ball. Those are the kind of goals Slot wants his team to score. He really wants to get the team in a position where someone can run from deep and help the team build. Because the reason why I think he said that deep runs is the most important thing is that how can a team cut out the threat from deep runs? You can't, because you don't even know the player is going to be in this position at this time, right? Because he's running from deep, it is very difficult to mark those kind of players. And I really think that is true because I see a lot of other teams trying to attack without deep runs and they struggle to really break teams down. A typical example is the team that finished second this season, Arsenal. When you watch them, there is no deep runs, almost none. And so I think that is how come they've struggled a lot to break down teams. So that is my take on how Liverpool are going to play next season. It is going to be even more exciting. We are going to see more fast, fluid, and smooth football from Liverpool than we did this season. And if Slot's track record in his second season is anything to go by, then I think it's going to be excitement next season.